You know, you don't even have to be giving resources out of. You're just promoting pandering to women just because, you know, you want the validation of women. That can be seen as a simp.
Okay. All right. So yeah, let me just give my thoughts on this. I think basically I'm pretty much in agreement with y'all. Honestly, I'm gonna keep it a buck. In most cases, for me, like I don't even be using these terms. You know what I'm saying? Like simp and like I honestly hate these terms, to be honest with y'all. Okay. Like I really hate these terms, like these alpha beta, like a lot of these alpha beta conversations. Y'all, you simping, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm red pill, I'm pink pill, I'm blue pill, I'm orange pill. Like y'all niggas taking all the pills. All right. So to be honest with y'all, most cases I really hate all these terms. But I would say, like, if I had to define simp, um, I think, yeah, I think it really the main point of it is what y'all discussed, which is the reciprocity aspect. You know what I'm saying? It's the idea of like, you're giving, at least that's how I see it, right? That's my understanding of it, is that you're giving, you're basically putting so much into a woman, for example. And I've never heard it. I'm gonna hear Mel in a second on this because typically it's only applied to men, but you're giving so much to a woman, right, and putting so much effort in and whatnot, and she's doing the bare minimum, if that. And so for me, that's how I typically think about a simp. But it's very unbalanced, right? So, wow, like right when I said it, Fatty posted basically, yeah, like it's an unbalanced relationship, right? So that's how I look at simp. So I think y'all are correct. So Mel, all right, before we move on, Mel, all right, like I really want to understand, how are you a simp? Well, actually, hold up, before you go, Mel, again, listen, y'all. Like, well, I know some of y'all probably just pulled up, right?
Yeah,
I
no,
I
no,
just
JB, no, no,
provided the
no. Actually, no,
context.
JB. I'm gonna speak for you. This
Hold
is
up, hold up.
ridiculous, y'all.
I
You
just
need to have some
well,
common sense. Come
I
on,
hold up, hold up,
like,
hold up, Jedi. They might have just pulled up, right? They might have just pulled up. I explained the context. So if you just pulled up, the context is, pull, like, rewind a bit so you can understand the context. There's no disrespect here. And the context is actually, like, the title is actually an apt title. Like, it's not a clickbait title. Like, it's actually, there's relevant context here, but it's no disrespect. Like, I'm a fan of Kevin
Man,
Samuels.
even if it is clickbait, who cares, bro? Like,
exactly,
goddamn.
Well,
exactly.
okay, Sway, I'll say here's the reason why I think it's important in this case. In most cases, I would agree with you. I'd be like, man, fuck this. Like, I would, but I think when it comes to Kevin, I can respect the fact that people are going so hard because they don't want any people like they. I think they might immediately think that, that's what I'm saying. That's why, again, it's in a question mark form. It's asking, was he a simp, and we're trying to discuss it. So don't assume things. Go back and listen to. I'm saying, listen to my context, and then listen to the show. All right, we don't disrespect Kevin over here. You know what I'm saying? Kevin is a friend of the show. Well, he was. Rest in peace to the Godfather. We don't disrespect him over here. All right. But anyway, Mel, I need you to
Yes.
explain to us, Mel. Before we move on, I need you to tell us how were the kids? Why were the kids calling you a simp?
Well, I was divorced and then I started dating, but it had been a while. So they was used to like just Coach Mel, like they're having all my attention. So when I started like seriously dating, they said I didn't have enough time for them. So I was simping over this person. But the person they're talking about, like we're still together, we're happy, like Big Daddy's good. So that's what they said I was simping for, like when we first started dating, especially before they had met him. So, and then I had a second question for everybody. Why do we always think that, like, when we talk about simping or doing more for another partner, why do we always assume it's the man that's doing more than it can be a woman as well? Because I
All
feel
right.
a lot of people are talking about the men.
So,
Go
can
ahead,
you
JB.
take a note of that question, Cam? Because because I think it's actually a good question to add to our list. So, we're gonna cover that. Yeah, we're gonna cover that. So take a note of that question, Cam. But I do want to jump to this. So the second topic, because I wanted us to have a foundation of what this simp word means, right? So the next topic is being a gentleman a simp, and where is the line? Now here's the context. So in that discussion that Dennis Spurling had with Ortencia, I hope I'm saying her name properly. By the way, Ortencia, she's a hero, bro. Like if y'all actually hear that back and forth and you listen to the context of like this, this
Yes,
this young
yes.
lady had to give she gave Kevin CPR for like 18 minutes. Okay, she kept Kevin alive until the ambulance showed up. Like, she's a straight up hero. So shout out to her. But one of the things she described about Kevin was how Kevin was actually a gentleman, right? So you would think, based on watching the show, or at least a lot of people seem to think that Kevin, you know what I'm saying, is just this, like, you know, super like brute guy who just, like, you know, probably has no type of, I don't know, man. Like, the way some people talk about Kevin, it's like he's just a cold-hearted guy, right? But when she talked about him, she explained how he actually was a gentleman. Like, he, you know, opened doors for, you know, for his lady. You know, he'll carry the bags if they go purchase stuff, like certain, you know, things like that. So you could say that's chivalry, right? And so, you know, basically she was explaining how Kevin was a gentleman, essentially. And like I said, it was a great interview. Y'all can, you know, go listen to it afterward. But it made me think, you know, because I already know, again, just from listening to a lot of conversations in this space, and even some of the people that were saying stuff, even in that very chat, people are going to call that simping. And so I'm just curious how y'all feel about this. Like, do you think being a gentleman is a simp? And do you think there's a line? Like, do you think like it's black and white, that being a gentleman, yes, is a simp? Or do you think it's like, it depends on what you're doing, like what kind of gentleman you're being? You know, that's what I mean. So, like, do you guys think that? So I want to, you know, start with the men first. Like, I want to hear what, let's start with Jedi. What do you think, Jedi?
Well, you know, there's a whole saying about people complaining about, like, well, chivalry's dead, but women killed it, right? You know, there was some people who say that nowadays, because they think what it means to be a gentleman, you know, back in the day is not what it means to be a gentleman now, because they think, oh, you know, open the door for you, like, like, why are you doing that? That seems weird. Now, both my parents, you know, my father was born in '59, so like my parents are the '60s, so it's like they grew up in a time where that a certain type of decorum as a man, how we act, that, you know, that was just consistent throughout, you know, through, and how he raised me. But today, you know, we have this type of you know, the modernism, what you want to call it, in terms of relationships, where uh when we think about, okay, well, now that the man is becoming more feminine, or not becoming who what he used to be, what a man was defined as, now it's almost like, okay, now I have to seek validation through a woman by giving her things when she didn't done nothing to receive that. You know, I'm not talking about just respect, but just like money, attention, all the other things, are going above beyond. But yet what she's reciprocating you is what? Her presence, simply. No, that's not it. What, regardless of the, like, now she's not treating you right, she's not valuing you. It's just a thing. And a lot of men today, ones who are really weak-minded, they don't know it. They just feel like, oh, if I just be nice to her, then I can get all those things. And then, well, knowing they're just basically digging, no, a bigger grave for them to lie in. We know when that heartbreak comes, when she said, all right, peace, thank you for giving me all the free stuff, free attention. Now, all right, I gotta go, dip. And a lot of dudes, you know, they get in and they get so discombobulated, what it's like, what's going on? I did all those things, I was a gentleman, I was doing all this. Like, no, dude, you basically doing all those things, she became less attracted to you because, one, you weren't, no, being being a man that you think that you see yourself as a valuable person. And women smell that. They smell a weak-minded man. They can tell when a dude doesn't respect himself, right? And that's what the main really thing is, the definition of a simp. Man doesn't respect himself. And that's one of the most unattractive things and appalling things to anybody. So,
Well said, Jedi. Okay, what do you think, Sway?
I mean, I think the context would have to be, who are you doing it for? Especially nowadays, you know, what the Jedi said, chivalry's dead because women killed it. I think a lot of men, if you do it for the majority of women, the majority of women, you probably will be seen as a simp, because a lot of guys at this point are getting played and finessed and used and abused. And, you know, I don't have any pity for those guys, because if you can't see it or you're willing to do it, that's all on you as a man. I mean, you got to take responsibility for wasting your own time and own resources and own energy on someone who really isn't giving anything back to you. I personally don't do that anymore. I'm sure we've all done it growing up as a child or a kid or in high school at some point, because that was the narrative that you should do or had to do. Or, you know, even if you were worried about your own personal reputation, you didn't want a bad reputation amongst the school that, you know, you're a dickhead, or, you know, you're this type of guy, you're a fuck boy or whatever. But to come to realize the dickheads, the fuck boys, they kind of get you. That's, you know, they get what they want, and the simps typically don't. So a lot of times you were promoted to be a simp. put a woman on a pedestal, do this for her regardless of how she acts, or even the bad behavior of women. There's always a term to reinforce that behavior in a quote unquote some type of positive way. So a lot of guys, I feel like, either don't know they're simping, or they know and they just keep doing it, because the men who know and don't want to do it typically don't. In my eyes, I don't do that. You know what I mean? I understand reciprocity. I understand the give and take. If I'm doing everything for you and I don't feel any of that energy back, I feel like it's pretty known. But I don't know why men do it. I don't, still, if they understand what's going on, but it's definitely circumstantial on the woman. You know what I mean? Or even the man. If to Mel's point of view, it could be a woman simping for a guy if she's just abusing her, and she's giving everything to him, and somehow she's still not getting what she wants. That's dumb on her. Why are you simping for this man that isn't giving you what you want? So
Okay. Yeah, great answers so far. Cam, what do you think, Cam? Do you think being a gentleman is a simp, or is being a gentleman a simp? And do you think there's a line? And I guess if you want to try to put me on blast, I'm saying, you can go ahead and do that too. I'm saying, if you're trying to expose me, but go ahead, Cam.
Get 'em.
I'm not gonna expose you in a bad way, but to answer the question, no, I do not think that being a gentleman is a simp. I think that's like the obvious answer, because like gentlemen are the counterpart of women being ladies, and so gentlemen both need to coexist, right? Men are gentlemen to women who they feel are acting like ladies, and I just think that's the way it should be. The line though is like pandering, when you're kind of like just overdoing it, overcompensating. Like okay, now I will put you on the spot. Like, for example, like if I have an attitude, right, and JB is just like, oh, it's okay, we can watch what you want to watch, or whatever. Like, yeah, then that's like crossing the line, because now you're just kind of like doing something to appease me when I'm like exhibiting some bad behavior, or something like that. So I think that you have to be a gentleman when it's called for, but if you have to stand your ground, then you need to be able to do that, and not get off your square, or whatever.
So just for the record, right? Because you weren't too clear with your language there. JB don't be doing that, right? I just want you to be clear with your language there. All right. So go ahead.
Right. Jonathan does not reward bad behavior.
All right, Mel. What do you think, Mel?
Y'all hit on so many points. Like I usually take notes. So what I'm saying is, I think we see chivalry the wrong way. Like I think Sway, you mentioned it, or no, that might have been Jedi that said that like your parents did it like in the 60s or something like that. I don't feel like it should be something that's lost. And I feel like if you have a woman that's really deserving of it, again, going back to what Kim said, when you're with a lady, or you're just with somebody else. And I think more people need to be understanding of who they're with. And I mean, to be perfectly honest, and I know everybody gonna hate me for saying this, everybody's not deserving of it. But I will tell you one thing, and it may be because I'm from Mississippi, but chivalry makes me like more attracted to you. Like when you do stuff like that, I'm more attracted to you. Like I mean, even now, like if me and my mother go somewhere, or me and my granny, when I go visit them, if we go somewhere, I'm opening the door for them. I'm making sure they're good. I'm doing all that if it's just me and them, because I'm younger. I'm of the younger generation, so I'm gonna pander to them being older. So I just think it's something that's lost, and the reason it's lost is because people have wasted it on the wrong people. So now they don't even feel like a need to do it.
Mel, now if your grandparents were, I don't know, not every grandparents are good, they're human beings, but if they were like mean and, make fun of you and they're just rude to you all the time, like would you still feel obligated to pander to them? You know what I mean? just because they're older. Like a lot of times, like that's the same sentiment that men are doing, or the narrative is that men should simp or pander to women just because they're women, regardless of how they act. Like,
I cut people off. I believe in cutting off family that doesn't treat you right, that doesn't act right, that disrespects you or whatever. Because I had to have a conversation with like one of my aunties, and then she still didn't respect me as an adult. She still thought I was a child, so I cut her off. So I definitely believe in like sometimes you have to cut people off if they don't treat you right, regardless of sex, age, or anything.
Okay. Again, y'all gave some great answers. My view on this is it's a little nuanced, right? Because I think, well, I'll start off by saying this. I think it's lame as fuck that some dudes don't understand that it really is dependent on, the female that you're with, right? Like that's really how I look at it, because it's not really that black and white. There's certain things that I hear certain people say in this space. And I'll be honest, I mean, even when I went through my whole, RP rage stage, there's certain thoughts I had and whatnot. But just looking at it from a sober mind and whatnot, right? Like I think it's lame that some dudes don't understand that it depends on the female you have. Like if you have a female that's just take, and you're not getting any value out of her, then yeah, in most cases you're probably simping. In most cases you're probably simping. But if she's actually valuable, I'm saying, if you sit down and you think, okay, what is the value of this woman in my life, right? And you can't come to some very tangible reasons why she's valuable to you, then you probably simping. But if you can like come up with reasons like, okay, this is why she dope, this why she dope, this why she dope. To me, I think it's only right, to treat her accordingly. I don't see any problem. Listen, I do not see any problem. Like some of the stuff that people in this space be calling simping, tricking. If she's my lady and she's dope, I'm gonna treat her like a dope female. I really don't see. Y'all can call me a simp all day. Like I do not see a problem with it. But you're not gonna find me. Like treating some of these ratchet chicks. Or some of these let me not use that term. But you're not going to find me treating, certain types of women a certain way. I'm not doing it. Like no way, shape, or form. But yeah, I think fundamentally it just depends on the woman. And so if she's giving enough value to you, then I think it's also, in the context of, what the young lady was saying about Kevin. I think Kevin, just from listening to her, I don't know the young lady, but she sounded pretty dope to me from listening to her and her mindset, And so, I think, Kevin probably realized like, yo, I got, she's dope. And actually, also, shout out to Kevin because I learned Kevin is a member of the Packet Gang. Okay. Kevin is a member of the Packet Gang. Okay. Cause y'all know I'll be ordering packets.